Hi everyone, welcome to our video tutorial for this bandana scarf. This is the summer version of this scarf. So I hope you enjoy it. Please like, share and subscribe, and hope to catch you soon. Thanks. Bye. What's up there? What's up there? Hi Melba. Okay, so for this tutorial you'll need some yarn. I've got this cotton, 100% cotton graduated yarn here that looks super pretty made up into this pattern. So you can use any yarn you like really. This is a 2 to 3 weight yarn, and I intend this one to be a summer version, so it's in this cotton. But you could use a cotton blend, you could make a winter version, no problem at all. But yeah, any yarn of your choice. A crochet hook to correspond to your yarn. I'm using a 3.5mm for this yarn. You'll need some scissors to snip your ends. You'll need a darning needle to weave in your ends. And you may or may not need a tape measure. This pattern is actually really easy to size, so if you've just got a sort of general idea of where your cat falls in the standard small to standard large size range, you don't need an exact measurement of your cat's neck. So I'm going to give you sizing guidelines as we move through, and you can also check out the in the description box below. I'll add the general guide to cat sizing. So let's get started. Okay, so this is one bandana scarf that I have made for Melba a while ago, and it's had a lot of use, so excuse me if it's showing up a little bit dirty or manky, but the stitches and techniques that you'll need to know to make this bandana scarf are how to slip knot onto your hook, how to create a chain, how to double crochet decrease, and then how to weave in your ends. So it's a super easy beginner project. We'll be increasing, there's some plant matter on there. So we'll be increasing and decreasing down one edge. One edge will stay the same, will be straight, and then we'll make this increase and decrease. So it can be made in any size that you like. In theory it could be made in a human size. It's you just decide when you want to stop increasing and then start decreasing. So you can tailor it to the yarn that you've got, to the size of your cat. You could use this for other animals. It's it's a great pattern, and I really enjoy making it up. There's something about the combination of the stitches that I really enjoy. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing you'll need to do is slip knot onto your hook, however you do that. Now, if you're not sure about any of these basic techniques, please check out a beginner-friendly YouTube tutorial. There's heaps of beginner YouTube videos on YouTube, so whatever resource you've got, just check those out. I don't run through them specifically here. I'm making assumption that you've got some basic techniques. So we've slip knotted onto the hook. Now from here, chain 3, 2 and 3, and then we're going to double crochet into that first chain. So the furthest chain from the hook, place a double crochet. So these are all US terminologies. So a double crochet. And then chain 3. So we'll always be chaining 3 in this pattern. Turn your work. And find that little chain space. So in the middle there you've got a chain space. So open up your work and place a double crochet into that chain space. So we'll be working quite a bit into chain spaces as we move along, and that's the first time we'll do that. So working into that chain space. Chain 3 and turn. Now once again, find you've got your chain there and your double crochet below. So you're going to just work 3 double crochets into that chain space. So 1 and 2 and 3. So if we just check out the one that I've already made here for a moment, so you'll see that we've got window row, solid row, window row, solid row. So we'll be increasing by 1 window every 2 rows. So you can see here, here's my first window, the next, and then the solid row, and then the next there'll be 2 windows. And that's how you'll know that you're on the right track with your number of stitches and that you're following the pattern properly, is that every window row will increase by 1 window, okay, as we're increasing. Okay, so there I've got my first window row, 1 window. I've got my solid row. Then we're going to chain 3, turn. And then we're going to skip this first, so we're working on a window row now. We're going to skip this first stitch underneath the chain, place a double crochet into the next stitch, and then chain 1. And then in this row, we've got 1 stitch, which we're going to skip, and then we've just got this chain space left. So we're going to double crochet into the chain space. And that will give us our 2 windows in this row. So we've got our 1 window. So this row below is a solid row. It looks like there's a window there, but there's not. That's a solid row. And then you've got the 2 windows in that next window row. Okay. And so basically that's the pattern that you'll be following. So chain 3, always chaining 3, turn your work, and then we'll be working 3 double crochets into this chain space, this first chain space, so the first window. 1 and 2 and 3. And then we'll find the stitch that's above the double crochet in the previous row and place a double crochet in there. And then we've got our chain space left, so we'll place 1 double crochet into that chain space, and that opens up that second window in that previous row. So we've got our solid row. Moving on to the next row, which will be a window row, chain 3. So of course we're going to have 3 windows in this next row. So skip that first stitch, double crochet in the next, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next, chain 1, and then you'll have your chain space left, so double crochet into that chain space. And then we have our 3 windows, which will become easier to see when you add the next row. The next row opens up the windows. Okay, so chain 3, I'll just do a couple more rows with you, and then we'll move along on our own until you've reached the size that you want for your increase, so half size of the bandana scarf. Okay, so we're on a solid row, so we'll put our 3 double crochets into that first window. So we're always increasing on this one side here, and then the other side stays invariant. Okay, so we've placed our first 3 above the double crochet in the previous row. 1 double crochet, so in the stitch above that double crochet. Oops, let's get both loops. There we go. So that stitch can be sometimes a little bit hidden, so just make sure that you don't skip that one. Then into the chain space, then into the stitch above the double crochet, and then finally into the chain space. Okay, so continue repeating those rows until, like I said, you reach the size that you want. Now this one here is a, let's say it's a small to medium, and I've done 30 rows, okay? So keep going, and that's, 30 rows counting each row. Okay, so you work until you reach the size that you want. Now what you can do is you can place the center, so when you get close to where you think you will want your bandana scarf to be, you can place it onto the cat and just check that it wraps around the neck and that you'll be able to tie the tie. And obviously you'll have to do the other side to be able to do that, but you'll get a general idea if it's going to be big enough. So like I said, with this yarn, and it'll depend on your yarn, it'll depend on your hook, with this yarn for a small to medium, which is the size that Melba is, I've done 30 rows to increase. Okay, so use that as a guide. You may use less, you may make more. It'll, like I said, it'll entirely depend on the size of your cat, on the yarn and the hook size that you're using, and you know, the fit that you want, how much you want to be able to tie at the back or the front. Okay, so keep on moving along. I'm going to keep going with mine, alternating those window rows and solid rows until I reach the length that I want, and I'm going to go to a similar length to the one that I've already made. The yarn is quite similar, so it's not exactly the same. This one's slightly finer, but it'll be I'll be working to approximately the same size. So I'll leave you now to continue on, and I'll meet you shortly. Okay, so I've done my 30 rows here. So when you're, just a quick note on when you're counting your rows, this down here counts as your first solid row, this bottom bit, and then you've got your second row is that window row, and then count from there. So I've got 30 rows, so it's best if you can finish on a window row. Okay, so that will mean that you will have an even number of rows. So depending, like I said before, depending on your yarn, your hook, you may have, perhaps less, 26, 28 rows. You may have more, 32, 34. It's completely completely up to you depending on your situation. So what we're going to do now is start to decrease. So chain your 3 as you have been doing, so we're still going to continue to do that, and now we're going to do a double crochet decrease using this first window and the stitch above the next double crochet. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, place your hook into that stitch above the double crochet, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through all 3. Okay, so that's how we're going to decrease. So we're decreasing by 1 stitch here, and so when we were increasing, we were only increasing every second row. So as we decrease, we're going to decrease every row. Okay, so that's the start of our decrease, and then you'll just move along as you have been doing, the same as the other rows, so working into the chain space and then working into the stitch above the double crochet. So continue along and work all the way to the end. So just reminding you that this edge is the edge that we're not increasing or decreasing, and that continues the same. So we'll be increasing and decreasing in each row at this side. Okay, so actually from here, continue and finish this row, and then go along until you've nearly finished the next row. So continue these solid rows, same as you've been doing, and I'll meet you when you're back here. Okay, so back here in the next solid row, and I'll show you how we'll decrease at this edge in that next row. Okay, so see you soon. Okay, so I've done that. I've finished that first decrease row, and then started my second decrease row. So I'm at the end here. So as I said, we're always increasing and decreasing along this edge here. So I'll just put my next double crochet in, chain 1, and then what you'll see is that you've got actually 2 stitches here and then the chain space. So you'll skip both of those stitches, so that will give you your other decrease, and just work into the chain space. So you'll be able to start to see, you can see that that's where the peak is here, and then we're going to start to decrease. Okay, so basically that's all you're going to do. So I'll just show you this bit again, this first decrease, chain 3 and turn, and then you'll do that double crochet decrease, one into the chain space, pull through 2, yarn over, insert into the next stitch, just get that stitch properly, there we go, and then pull through all 3 at the end. So that's your double crochet decrease, and then just continue as we did before, working that row the same way, and then you'll come back along and you'll do the decrease in the same way, skipping those 2 stitches in the end and then working into the chain space. Okay, so keep decreasing, and basically that's all that will happen now, is you'll just keep decreasing until you reach the opposite point, and I'll join you there. Okay, I'm right down near the end of my decrease side, so I'm just going to finish this off with you. So I'll make this window row, and so basically it's just as simple as you just keep following the pattern until you get right down to the end, and you'll decrease by 1 window every 2 rows. So I'm at 2 windows there, so I'm nearly done with this decrease. So here's my last double crochet decrease, and then chain 3, and here's my last window. So I'll just skip those 2 stitches, go straight into the chain space, and then to finish off 1, 2, 3, and then double crochet into that chain space, and you're done. So just yarn over, pull through, and snip your end, and then all that you need to do is weave in your ends and you're done. So I'm going to assume you know how to do that. You'll just weave your end, and I just tend to go into the double crochets and weave across, and just weave in a few times. But other than that, that's your bandana scarf finished. So when you wear it, you can wear it with this part at the front, so underneath the chin, and you can roll the little bit at the top, or you can wear it as more like a scarf and just tie at the front and have this bit at the back. So there's 2 ways to wear it. It's super easy wear, really cute, this one. I really love it. Easy to fit, easy to size, and I hope you've enjoyed it too. So if you have time, please send along your photos of your bandana scarf to catventurous.community@gmail.com, or you can tag us on social media at catventurous.crochet. So thanks so much for being here, and hope to catch you soon. Thanks, bye. Hey Melba, hey Melba. You're such a good girl. 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 Thanks, baby. Kitty puss. Here. Thanks, baby. Yeah.